Hello and welcome to Talking Snowballs with Mike and Mel. We will be discussing all types of subjects ranging from the news to the paranormal. Hope you enjoy, leave your comments below and don't forget to subscribe. So today we're going to discuss paranormal, or more specifically actually I should say paranormal TV investigators.
Well, also like the ones on YouTube and all that really as well.
Pretty much anybody who broadcasts like ghost hunting or demon hunting or whatever, anything like that.
Yeah.
I know that there's rather a lot that annoys you about them.
Well, not just, it's more like the questions they ask and how they all seem to be the same.
Yeah.
I understand a lot of people don't believe and they go to these places, different places. Some places they've only been investigated once by any investigators, But it's the fact that they all ask, oh, is anybody there? Or, is such and such is supposed to be here, you here, and all this. But what I'd like questions is more about afterlife. Like, why can't everyone see what other people are supposed to see, ghosts? Or why don't we know what happens after life? Like, for instance, if you passed away when you're 80, do you then cross over in your 20s, or do you stay the same? Or if you do pass over, why does some linger and then apparently others go into heaven?
Yeah, what's the reason that the ghosts are there?
Yeah, because I know sometimes, people say, because they've got unfinished business, things like that, which I can understand. I
kind of understand, but what difference does it make if they've got unfinished business?
Exactly,
they're dead.
Yeah.
You can't finish it.
Yeah. Well, you never know. That's how poltergeist happens then.
Maybe.
You just don't know.
So every poltergeist is realistically just a ghost trying to finish some business, which is just rearranging kitchens and.
Or is their full-time job is to haunt people?
Oh, maybe it's just like a job.
Yeah.
It's like another dimension, and they're all employed just to annoy us.
Okay, you're going into it.
Now, with the investigators, I see what you mean. Where they all ask the same thing: is there anybody there?
Or can you turn the light on from the torch? Or can you show yourself? Or
do you not think the torch thing is the biggest load of bollocks ever?
Well, I don't know, because they make out that somebody is doing something, but then you think technology today, I don't know.
Everyone I've seen that's explained what they're doing with the torch is like a touch torch at the end, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they unscrew it so that it's barely connecting, or it's a loose connection.
Yeah.
And then they're surprised when the light switches on and off.
Yeah.
It's like, it's making a loose connection, isn't it?
And let's talk about the most haunted, really. I mean, they always seem to have stones thrown at them.
Well, this is the other thing. Whenever because you watch quite a lot of these programs, you've seen a lot of them live, and yet every single time you watch a live one, something happens. Yeah,
and there's no way you can go to these different locations and something happens especially live. There's no way, because you see there are some genuine ghost hunters that go places and nothing happens, or they might just get one or two EVPs or something. But when you're live like that for like, what was it, like a week?
Yeah, it'd be about that, I think, wouldn't it?
And well, there's always stones thrown.
Yeah, these ghosts have an obsession with throwing stones.
Or whistling. But then, okay, they're a bit different, whistling, because you don't see other TV programs whistle to ghosts and whistling back.
I have never heard of a ghost whistling other than on that one show.
Yeah. It just you think twice. And like, there's a lot of people do spoil it really, to make people's mind up if they believe or not. And it's the same with like the programs on YouTube, or people download evidence, and you can completely see that is completely computerized.
Yeah, it's like the most obvious Photoshop ever.
And it just spoils it for the ones that are genuine, you know?
Oh, definitely. A lot of the... I'm a skeptic. You know I'm a skeptic. I watch the programs with you, but...
Well, half the time you fall asleep because it makes you sleep.
Well, yeah, what can I say? It's soothing.
Yeah.
I suppose unless I was to actually see something myself, I'll always be a skeptic. But so many of the programs you watch, or the videos you watch on like YouTube and whatever, they're so fake.
Yeah.
And then they're still asking... They're fake, and they're still asking the same questions.
Yeah.
Surely if you're going to fake it, ask some different questions.
If I was to investigate, yes, I'd probably at the start, or if it's a new place I'm going to, I probably do ask the same questions. Probably. But then after a while, I'd be like, okay, let's go. Okay, we've got, maybe if you had some EVPs, for instance, that they're talking back to you, you're getting that kind of evidence, then I'd be going, right, okay, there's somebody here, or something's here, they've answered my question, and they're sort of, really good answers, so they are actually...
Responding.
Yeah. Then I'd go, right, okay, we've gone through that, can you tell me what happens after life? Do you remember passing? Do you remember your past life?
Well, apparently what happens after life is you stand around and wait for some weirdo with a camera and a digital recorder to come and ask what your name is,
Well, yeah,
and whether
exactly.
you're there.
And you just, I'd like to go to these different places, right, and ask the same questions of that kind of afterlife and see how much evidence you would get from that. Are they going to be the same answers, or are they all going to be different answers? So if you go to and say, right, for instance, how old are you when you died? Or, I was in my 20s. Do you look like this,
Your
how
20s.
you died? Do you know what I mean? Or do you see us? Or do you see what's around you? When you died, say if you died in the 1940s, do you still see it in the 1940s, or do you still see it, or do you see it as 2018?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or have you seen when you passed over, and say you've passed over and you've been here since 1940, have you seen it progress to 2018, or have you missed?
Have you lived, or died, I should say, I suppose, but like lived through every single day?
Yeah.
Or do you just come out like
Do you
once
know
every 5 years?
Do you know what the other question I'd like to know?
Go on.
Is where do you go if you're not answering the questions? Or if you apparently you go through this portal or something. Where do you go?
Heaven.
If you haven't crossed over and you're constantly in this supposedly building because you've been seen so many times for so many years, where do you go then?
Heaven? Hell? Maybe?
Or if you go to the portal, is that another room that you stay, that you come in and out?
Could it just be like Beetlejuice is the waiting room with the woman and the football
is
team? You just go
like
to
that, and you have this ticket that's got a huge billion number.
You got to sit there with Beetlejuice and wait.
Yeah, is there something like that, or where do you go?
I think obviously these paranormal TV guys, they never ask anything deep or serious, do they?
But do they? But they're not allowed to show it on TV.
Or do they? And there's no answer, so they never show it on TV.
Exactly.
I don't think they ask. I think the main thing with these paranormal TV shows is like every single one you watch, it's like the first thing they put up on the screen is, this is for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
So, oh no shit, it's a TV program.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'd really like to see is, as a skeptic, I'd like to see more from priests and religious people about exorcisms. Now that, tell you what, I'll say it now. If you're an exorcist, priest, any form of exorcist, and you want to be interviewed about everything, leave comment in the section below. Get in contact with us however you can, through email, whatever. We'll put the email onto the description. Get in contact with us. We'll ring you up. We'll arrange a time and a date. We'll interview you. And we'll put it on here.
Okay then, put it like this then, because you're a skeptic.
Yep.
Because you don't believe in ghosts, yet you seem to believe exorcism. So what is the difference?
I would say the main difference for me is not that I don't believe necessarily in ghosts or the afterlife or anything like that. It's more, I've never seen anything. So
personally, rather than on TV, like.
Yeah, I've never seen anything personally, so I find it hard to accept what I see on television. With exorcisms, I find it slightly different because these are guys who are religious. They're supposed to be leading a certain type of life. I mean, I know obviously certain churches that doesn't always happen.
No.
But as you know, let's take the Catholic Church for instance. They've got the Pope and they've got so many exorcists that they all believe in this thing. They all believe that the exorcisms have to happen.
Gotta be something.
And it just intrigues me. I wouldn't say I'm still skeptical. I mean, I wouldn't. If somebody told me that they had a demon in them, I'm not going to go provoking it or anything. I'm not dumb.
Yeah, because you don't understand.
Certainly, the role of an exorcist and what they do, what they believe. These are guys who are, from what I've read or listened to, they 100% believe in demons. It's not a case of they think somebody's slightly mentally ill and they've just got to do what they can to help.
Yeah.
They 100% believe this person is fine, apart from a demon in them. And I want to know how they come to that conclusion.
I want to know, how does that person become possessed?
Yeah.
How was that person being if there is obviously demons, how can that person was chosen? Why was that person chosen to be the vessel?
Yeah. Was it just purely that they weren't religious? In which case we're all at risk. Does it matter what religion? Because I read the other week that I've always thought that it was Christian priests, mainly Roman Catholic, I guess, who performed exorcisms. I read the other day about a Muslim cleric, is it? I don't know what you call them. I'm really sorry, I'm not trying to be offensive. Performing an exorcism. I didn't even know they did that. Or they had that belief in their religion.
Is it because the person's pure?
So you're saying because they're pure, the demon is able to corrupt them. Sorry, something just fell in our room.
Okay,
spooky.
That's weird.
I'm not pure, so he can't get me. Let's carry on. It'll be fine.
What? Okay, we're going through this kind of thing, and what do you think about psychics or mediums?
I think all psychics and mediums are fake. Psychics, yeah. I suppose mediums slightly different.
And I suppose, with some mediums, you tend to use, they say, different parts of the brain that a lot of humans don't use, which I can understand, because obviously you get more intelligent people than others. But, I know they explain to you, and sometimes you see it on TV and they try to make out what they are seeing, but I would like to see what they see. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, 100%, I cannot say that I've ever come across a psychic that I believe anything that they've said, because I mean, not being, you only need to watch Darren Brown, isn't it? And he shows you exactly how to do the tricks.
Yeah, and they, they ask certain questions, and they sort of ask a tricky question, or that you might answer them, giving them an answer without realising as a clue.
Yeah, and in this world that we live in, if you go and visit a psychic, and I'm being funny, everybody who's ever been lived is pretty much on Facebook nowadays, or Instagram or Twitter. So the psychic, all they got to do is take your name and they'll know everything about you.
Exactly.
Probably know what you had for dinner last night.
Probably.
That's another discussion.
Yeah.
But mediums, I suppose, yeah, you're right, slightly different. They do...
you can... Because they're a bit, like you're saying, they connect a little bit to exorcist, really, and don't they, sometimes?
Yeah.
If you call somebody in saying that the house is haunted or what have you, or there's something not quite right, and you ask them to come into the house, they sometimes sense things, and they're like, "Oh, right, you need a priest to cleanse." They seem to know as much as a priest would. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so there is something there that they obviously connect with. But me personally, I just wish I could see what they see or feel what they feel.
No, you don't.
No, I don't. Not in that way. To understand what they're trying to say, because you will believe in everything they're saying.
Yeah.
Does that mean? And when you imagine something, how they explain it. Well, my imagination could be different to what they're trying
to explain. Yeah.
Yeah, and what you might think. What they're trying to explain,
Yeah, I think mediums is something that's very... I think, again, there is a lot of fake mediums.
It's such a hit and miss.
But I would say the mediums who... Or sensitives, I think some of them are called, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think the ones who don't do stuff necessarily for money, if that makes sense.
What about the ones that, help to solve a crime?
Ones like that, they're more likely... to have something about them, I think. Ones who appear and do big stage shows and they do big TV shows and stuff. To me, they're the same category and the same thing as a psychic. They're just
trying to do magic, really.
Yeah.
Being magicians.
Just throwing things out there and seeing what sticks.
Yeah. That's
my opinion on those, anyway.
Yeah, but that's going back to the paranormal questions, really. It's just would be nice to have some programs or some investigators that actually try to find out specifically why don't we know about afterlife, and why isn't more questions being asked about afterlife.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, it just doesn't make sense that every time, there's TV series that have been running for 10, 15 series.
It's just getting
boring. And every single episode, they go into a building, they either provoke something, or they ask it, is there anything there? And then they get scared when there is something there.
I still enjoy these programs because they go to different places, or sometimes they go back to the same place, or what have you, or so. It is good, but I'm just getting to a point now. It's more frustrations. Can you just get more of afterlife?
Yeah, and I mean, with some of the programs, I'll admit we've watched a lot of them, and there has been a few instances where I can't explain necessarily what you see on the show.
Yeah.
I think it's more coincidence that I can't explain it because I wasn't there and don't know the whole situation for most of it. But I'm not saying that they're all trying to con us.
No.
But certainly if I was them after 10, 15 series, I wouldn't still be going to the same sort of places and saying, is there anybody there? What's your name?
Yeah.
I'd be wanting to find out more information. Well, it's why are you here? When did you die? Are you dead or are you... And, were you ever human? Is a ghost actually a dead human, or is it another being?
Yeah, because, they don't have... even if they went back, a year later, 2 years later, or even if they spend time there for like a few days to a week, say they go to a new location, yes, ask the traditional questions to see if anything's there and if anything happens, what have you. If you get evidence saying that something is happening or that your questions are being answered, and then just like go into the next level then and saying, right, afterlife, why don't we know about afterlife? Why it's like secrecy, really.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, you can't possibly tell the living that what we do after, you know. It's I'd just like to know, you know, just try and dig deep a bit more, you know.
Do the ghosts, you know, do they actually see and hear everything that we're saying?
Well, yeah, you know.
Or is it for them the same as it is for us?
Are we like the Truman Show? You know, do they
Yeah.
watch? It's like TV, isn't it? You know.
It's all just a lie. We're just being filmed. As long as it's not just us.
No, well, sometimes I think we are being filmed because the amount of times we say certain things, it happens.
Well, it's okay. We can say them on podcast now, and then we actually get credit for it.
Oh, fair point. Yeah, so it's just that's a little. I don't know what everybody else thinks about that kind of.
Yeah, again, let us know in the comments. Yeah. You know, tell us your paranormal experience.
Yeah, that'd be. I am, you know, interested in things like that.
Or if you've seen a video, put the link on there.
Yeah.
Try and convince me. Well,
you.
don't try too hard, but
you never know, Mike. You might have to go on an investigation.
Well, I'll take you on an investigation.
No, because I will end up shitting myself.
No, you'll just scream like somebody's murdered you. Everybody will think that the ghost is about.
Well, exactly, so we can't tamper.
That's all for this week. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next edition of Talking Snowballs.